Hello everybody, welcome to the show. Please hit the subscribe button and give this episode a thumbs hell. Watch the emergency. Chaos explodes inside the Honey Boo Boo family when a normal day suddenly turns into complete disorder. Tension that had been quietly building for months finally reaches a breaking point. Voices rise, emotions clash, and the atmosphere shifts from uncomfortable to explosive within seconds. Family members try to calm the situation but nothing works. Anger, frustration, and fear collide all at once, creating a moment no one was prepared for. Dralin appears visibly overwhelmed. His body language changes, his tone becomes sharp and defensive. He feels cornered, unheard, and emotionally trapped. Arguments surround him from every direction, making the room feel smaller and more intense. He attempts to explain himself, but his words are interrupted repeatedly. Pressure builds rapidly until instinct takes over. He reaches for his phone not to create drama but because he feels there is no other option left. The shocking decision to call the police sends instant shockwaves through the household. Conversations stop mid-sentence, faces freeze, disbelief spreads across the room. Some family members shout in panic, others plead for him to stop, but the call is already in motion. Fear replaces anger as the reality of police involvement sinks in. This is no longer just a family argument, this has crossed into dangerous territory. Mama June storms into the chaos with fury blazing across her face. She demands to know who made the call and why. Her voice shakes between rage and disbelief. She feels betrayed, embarrassed, and exposed. To her, this is family business that should never involve outsiders, especially law enforcement. She erupts emotionally, asserting control, raising her voice, refusing to back down. Accusations begin flying rapidly from both sides. Mama June insists the situation was exaggerated, blown out of proportion, and misunderstood. She claims boundaries were never crossed and safety was never at risk. Dralin stands his ground, saying the environment became toxic, aggressive, and overwhelming. He insists he felt unsafe and ignored and that his concerns were dismissed repeatedly. The argument intensifies as old wounds resurface. Past conflicts previously buried come rushing back to the surface. Unresolved issues from years of tension spill out uncontrollably. Trust fractures, loyalty is tested, and the family instantly divides into sides. Every word spoken cuts deeper than the last, turning the room into an emotional battlefield. Tears begin to fall as emotions overflow. Anger mixes with heartbreak, disappointment, and fear. Voices crack under pressure and silence becomes just as loud as shouting. This moment exposes the fragile foundation beneath the family image fans thought they knew. The reality behind closed doors is far more painful and chaotic than anyone imagined. As the weight of police involvement becomes real, panic sets in. Mama June paces back and forth, realizing the situation is slipping out of her control. Her authority within the family feels challenged and threatened. Dralin remains tense, conflicted but resolute, believing he had no other choice. The room fills with uncertainty as everyone wonders what will happen next. This emergency changes everything instantly. Relationships are damaged, trust is shaken, and the sense of safety inside the home disappears. The family realizes there may be consequences they cannot undo. Reputations, relationships, and futures all hang in the balance because of one phone call. From the outside, this may look like reality television drama, but inside the house it feels like emotional collapse. This is raw, unfiltered pain happening in real time. The Honey Boo Boo family faces one of their darkest moments yet, and nothing feels secure anymore. The chaos does not end here. This is only the beginning of a storm that will continue to unfold. Questions remain unanswered, emotions remain raw, and the fallout is just starting. The family stands at a crossroads, unsure whether healing or complete breakdown awaits them next. After the initial explosion, the house falls into an uneasy silence, the kind of silence that feels heavier than shouting. Everyone processes what just happened, knowing there is no turning back. Emotions linger in the air, thick and suffocating. This is where the real damage begins. Dralin sits quietly, replaying the moment again and again in his head. His decision weighs heavily on him, yet he believes it was necessary. He felt ignored for too long, pushed aside, dismissed whenever he tried to speak. The environment had become emotionally unsafe in his mind. The call to the police was not about revenge but about escape, about protecting himself when no one else seemed willing to listen. Mama June on the other side feels her world shaking. She built her family image on strength, control, and survival. Now that image feels threatened from within. The police call feels like betrayal, not just to her but to everything she fought to protect. Her anger slowly transforms into hurt, frustration, and fear. Fear of losing control, fear of public backlash, fear of family collapse. Other family members are caught in the middle, struggling to breathe under the pressure. Some sympathize with Dralin, understanding how overwhelming the environment can be. Others stand firmly with Mama June, believing family matters should never reach this level. The divide grows deeper with every whispered conversation and exchanged glance. Old patterns begin to reveal themselves. Moments where voices were raised before, moments when feelings were brushed aside. This was not an isolated incident but a final trigger. Years of emotional build-up now exposed under harsh light. Everyone realizes they ignored warning signs, hoping problems would solve themselves. The weight of cameras and public attention adds another layer of tension. This family knows nothing stays private for long. Every move, every word could become headlines. Anxiety rises as they imagine the world watching their worst moment unfold. The pressure becomes unbearable. Mama June attempts to regain control by asserting her authority, but something has shifted. Her words no longer carry the same power. The family listens but with hesitation. Trust has been shaken and respect feels fragile. She senses it and it only deepens her frustration. Dralin feels isolated yet oddly relieved. Relieved that the chaos is no longer silent. Relieved that his fear is finally visible. But guilt creeps in as he sees the emotional fallout around him. He wonders if the price of speaking up was too high. This moment forces everyone to confront uncomfortable truths. Love alone is not enough when communication fails. Loyalty alone cannot erase emotional harm. The family must now decide whether to face these issues honestly or allow resentment to destroy them completely. As night settles, the house feels different, colder, heavier, unfamiliar. Relationships feel strained, conversations feel forced. No one knows what tomorrow will bring. Apologies hang unspoken, explanations feel insufficient. This is no longer just about one emergency call. This is about survival, emotional accountability, and the future of a family under intense pressure. The Honey Boo family stands on the edge of transformation or total breakdown. The storm is far from over. Deeper truths are still hidden, unresolved emotions are waiting to erupt again, and the consequences of this chaos are only beginning to unfold as the chaos settles. Unanswered questions begin to dominate every conversation. What really pushed the situation this far? Insiders close to the family quietly suggest this emergency was not sudden but inevitable. Tensions had been simmering behind closed doors long before the police were ever called. Late-night arguments, emotional pressure, and unspoken boundaries created a volatile environment. Sources hint that Dralin had tried multiple times to express discomfort only to feel dismissed. Every ignored concern added weight to an already fragile mental state. The night everything exploded was simply the final trigger, not the beginning. The call to the police symbolized desperation rather than aggression. Mama June now faces a reality she cannot control. Public scrutiny intensifies, speculation spreads rapidly. Fans question leadership, communication, and accountability. The strong image she worked so hard to maintain now appears cracked. Whispers of long-term damage begin circulating. Legal implications quietly loom in the background. Even without arrests, the involvement of authorities creates records, consequences, and lasting impact. Family members realize this moment could follow them for years, affecting relationships, careers, and public perception. The media watches closely, waiting for statements, reactions, or breakdowns. Silence only fuels speculation. Every pause becomes suspicious, every move analyzed. The pressure of fame amplifies the emotional fallout. Inside the home, relationships grow distant. Trust feels fragile, conversations feel guarded. Some family members begin emotionally withdrawing to protect themselves. Others attempt damage control, hoping to salvage unity. But the divide remains clear and painful. Dralin finds himself isolated yet unwavering. He believes the truth will eventually surface even if it costs him acceptance. Mama June struggles between defending her authority and confronting uncomfortable truths. Pride and pain collide, creating internal conflict. This emergency forces the family to confront a harsh question. Can they evolve beyond old patterns, or will history repeat itself again and again? Healing requires accountability, but accountability threatens control. The Honey Boo family now stands at a critical turning point. Therapy, reconciliation, distance, or permanent separation all remain possible outcomes. Nothing is guaranteed anymore. One thing is certain: the emergency chaos has permanently changed the family dynamic. The illusion is gone, the reality exposed, and the fallout is far from finished. This story does not end here. Deeper truths remain hidden, consequences are still unfolding, and the next chapter may be even more shocking than the last. The chaos inside the Honey Boo family does not stay behind closed doors for long. Word spreads fast, reactions explode across social media. Fans, critics, and insiders all rush to judge what happened. Opinions clash just like the family did. Some defend Dralin, calling his move brave and necessary. Others accuse him of crossing an unforgivable line. Mama June faces intense backlash as the narrative shifts. People question her leadership, her communication, and her ability to protect emotional safety within the family. Years of public history resurface instantly. Old scandals are dragged back into the spotlight, adding pressure to an already fragile situation. The family brand begins to feel the impact. Trust from viewers weakens, sponsorship conversations grow tense, and uncertainty clouds future plans. Every decision now carries weight. Silence feels risky, speaking feels dangerous. Behind the scenes, damage control begins quietly. Conversations about therapy, boundaries, and distance are whispered instead of shouted. Some family members consider stepping away completely to protect their mental health. Others fight to hold everything together, fearing total collapse. Dralin becomes a central figure in the public narrative. Some see him as the villain, others as the catalyst for long overdue change. He remains mostly quiet, allowing speculation to grow. His silence fuels curiosity, suspicion, and debate. Mama June wrestles with a painful realization: control no longer guarantees unity. The family dynamic has shifted permanently. Authority now faces resistance and accountability demands attention. The future feels uncertain, fractured and unstable. Reconciliation is possible but not guaranteed. Distance may bring peace or deepen wounds. Every path carries risk. This emergency chaos transforms into a defining chapter, one that will shape relationships, reputations and legacies moving forward. The Honey Boo Boo family now exists under a microscope where every move is watched and remembered. The storm has not ended, it has evolved. What comes next could heal everything or tear it apart completely. The next decision will change everything. The aftermath of the emergency chaos continues to reverberate through the Honey Boo Boo family. The night that Dralin called the police and Mama June erupted has left emotional scars that no one can ignore. Tensions simmer under the surface as every family member reflects on what happened. Regret and anger mix together in a volatile cocktail. Trust is fractured, loyalty questioned, and love tested in ways that no one expected. The house no longer feels like a sanctuary, it feels like a battlefield. Each corner echoing arguments that may never truly be resolved. Dralin feels the weight of his decision pressing down on him. He knows the call was necessary for his emotional safety, yet he cannot escape the ripple effect of that moment. He watches the family struggle, feels the judgment from fans and insiders, and wonders if his actions will permanently alter his relationship with the people he loves. Every glance, every word, every interaction is now tinged with the memory of that chaotic night. Nothing feels normal anymore. Mama June, once the pillar of authority and control, now faces a painful reckoning. The eruption that shocked everyone was more than anger, it was a manifestation of years of stress, disappointment, and fear. She is confronted with the reality that her leadership no longer guarantees unity. Her attempts to regain control are met with resistance. Family members question her decisions. The emotional foundation of the household feels unstable. Her frustration mixes with sadness as she begins to understand that the dynamics have changed forever. She worries about the public narrative, the reputation of the family brand, and the potential consequences that may follow. Every media headline, every social media comment feels like a magnifying glass over the raw wounds of her family. Other family members are caught in the crossfire. Some take sides. Others feel torn between loyalty and self-preservation. Quiet conversations become more important than loud arguments as they try to navigate the fallout. Some consider distancing themselves emotionally to avoid further harm. Others cling to the hope of reconciliation. The house feels divided yet strangely connected by the shared trauma of the emergency. Everyone understands that this moment has forever altered the relationships between them. The invisible bonds that held them together now feel fragile, delicate, and easily broken. Public attention amplifies the tension. The Honey Boo Boo family has always judgment. The narrative spins rapidly, creating pressure that feels almost unbearable. The family struggles to maintain authenticity while protecting themselves from the glare of public opinion. The line between private pain and public spectacle becomes impossibly thin. Behind the cameras, the family begins to confront long-ignored truths. Therapy and honest conversations are suggested. Boundaries are questioned. Patterns of avoidance and suppression revealed. The chaos forces each member to examine their own role in the unfolding drama. Guilt mixes with resentment. Fear mixes with hope, and the future becomes an uncertain landscape. No one can predict which path will lead to healing and which to permanent fracture. The emotional terrain is treacherous, filled with unseen pitfalls and moments that could trigger another eruption at any time. Dralin and Mama June engage in tense discussions, balancing accountability and forgiveness, each word carefully chosen, the air thick with unspoken emotions. History hangs between them like a heavy weight. Every memory of past arguments, past misunderstandings, past betrayals resurfaces in this fragile moment. Yet the possibility of growth exists, fragile as it may be, like a spark that could ignite either healing or further chaos. The future of their relationship and the household rests on how they navigate this precarious space. Meanwhile, the younger family members absorb the tension silently, feeling the effects of the emergency chaos ripple through their lives. Uncertainty about boundaries, emotional safety, and trust shapes their reactions. Some begin to speak up while others retreat. The household becomes a mixture of quiet contemplation and explosive outbursts. Every day feels like walking a tightrope. The memory of the police call and Mama June's eruption never far from mind, creating a backdrop of anxiety and tension that influences every interaction. The media and fan base continue to speculate. Every social media post, every news article, every insider tip adds fuel to the already intense fire. The family must navigate public perception while grappling with private emotional turmoil. The pressure intensifies the stakes, creating a dual reality where personal healing and public image collide. Each decision now has consequences not only for the family but for the brand, the livelihood, and the legacy they leave behind. Legal implications, though subtle, loom in the background. The emergency call opens potential questions about safety and responsibility. Even if no immediate legal action occurs, the presence of authorities leaves a lasting shadow. Family members are forced to consider accountability in ways they may not have previously. Every interaction becomes strategic, measured, yet still deeply emotional. Balancing emotion and prudence in a fragile environment. As days pass, the Honey Boo Boo family begins tentative steps toward resolution. The road is fraught with challenges. Emotional wounds are addressed unevenly, some members willing to confront, others resisting. Each conversation feels like a test, a balancing act between healing and conflict. The memory of the eruption and police involvement shapes the context of every discussion, creating both urgency and fragility. Every decision carries weight. The emotional landscape is complex, layered with fear, anger, hope, love, resentment, guilt, and longing for normalcy. No one is untouched. No one is unaffected. The chaos of that night continues to ripple outward, influencing every interaction, decision, and thought, creating an ongoing narrative of struggle, adaptation, and reflection. The family cannot escape the shadow of that moment. It is a permanent marker on their shared history. In this fragile aftermath, moments of understanding, reconciliation, and tentative peace emerge, like fleeting lights in a storm, yet the underlying tension remains, a constant reminder that the emergency chaos was more than a single event. It was a culmination of years of pressure, unspoken conflicts, and emotional strain. The family now faces the task of navigating this reality, balancing transparency with protection, honesty with sensitivity, while acknowledging the irreversible changes that have occurred. The Honey Boo Boo family stands at the edge of transformation, uncertain whether the lessons of this crisis will bring unity or deepen division. Every member must face their own role in the events, confront their emotions, and decide how to move forward. The choices they make now will define their relationships, their public image, and their personal futures. The chaos has changed them forever. Yet within this storm lies the potential for profound growth, healing, and resilience. As the story continues, questions remain, challenges persist, and the ripple effects of that night are felt in ways no one could have anticipated. The Honey Boo Boo family is forever altered, yet the narrative is still unfolding, leaving fans, insiders, and the family themselves on edge, waiting to see whether the next chapter will bring reconciliation, further conflict, or unexpected revelations. The emergency chaos is a defining moment that will echo through their lives for years to come, a catalyst for both destruction and transformation image, and their personal futures. The chaos has changed them forever, yet within this storm lies the potential for profound growth, healing, and resilience. As the story continues, questions remain, challenges persist, and the ripple effects of that night are felt in ways no one could have anticipated. The Honey Boo Boo family is forever altered, yet the narrative is still unfolding, leaving fans, insiders, and the family themselves on edge, waiting to see whether the next chapter will bring reconciliation, further conflict, or unexpected revelations. The emergency chaos is a defining moment that will echo through their lives for years to come, a catalyst for both destruction and transformation.